What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining. What we're doing today, we're going to define the spreadsheet and then kind of open source it. It's Google, right? So I can't really open source the code, but I'll open source the spreadsheet, like make it available to the public, and anyone can click it and use it. And this will be a template that you can use to track your own job search progress. I'll also provide scripts. So recently, I was mentoring a friend, and this person said, okay, like I'm supposed to like social network, but what do I say? They're like extremely introverted, right? How much to get started though? What do you mean? How much what? Time or money? Or you could potentially get started for $0. A lot of that depends, but not zero time. You're gonna have to put in hours. There's kind of a trade-off where for some people you can spend more money so that you spend less hours. For other people, it kind of depends on you. For other people, you can throw money at the problem and it's not going to make a big difference. Like, are you someone who can teach yourself, or are you someone who needs some external structure and accountability? So a boot camp would be a good option. Um, yeah, and the ATS is real. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but like this person's resume, we ran it through this ATS. Let me just quickly mention what is that ATS tool? I got the link somewhere. Yeah, let me quickly mention this is an ATS scanner. It's not like it's the best in the world or anything. It's just the one that I used, and it's totally free. You can upload a PDF like it says. And I'm not going to do this now, but I put someone else's resume through it, and the ATS thought they had 0 years, 0 months of experience. Oh, hey, Chris is on LinkedIn. What's up, Chris? We got people on TikTok, people on LinkedIn, people on Twitch. Yeah, Chris is the one that showed me this ATS resume parser. So shout out to Chris. So I'm working on this spreadsheet, and that's what we're going to do in the stream. We're going to get this spreadsheet looking good. Oh, let me put my face in the bottom left. That's better, right? So let's get this spreadsheet looking good and add it to the Latterly. Can I ask you a question? Yeah, feel free. It was Rob Celia. Yeah, so Rob Celia. Let's get, if I still have it in my browser history. Kinsella. Rob Kinsella. So Rob Kinsella had the link to this resume parsing tool. I don't know if Rob Kinsella made it. This is Rob Kinsella. By the way, on TikTok, let me put the background disclaimer so y'all can know to join me on YouTube, where you can see everything a lot better. I'll just put the kind of like a disclaimer thing there. Cool. So that disclaimer, it should say, you can see the full screen if you go to YouTube, basically. Cool. So Rob Kinsella, he's on TikTok. Follow him. I follow him. And I don't know who actually made this thing, but he also recommends it. He's like an HR SME. Okay. So this is the job search job search tracker template. That's what I'll call it. And we'll lock this for edits. Anyone should be able to see it though. So copy link, got it. Anyone with link can view, but don't go editing it. Y'all can't edit it. So this is a job search tracker template. We're going to add this to the Latterly slides. Latterly slides. So open up my VS Code. Oh, that's Steam. Whoops. Pardon all the popping windows. I clicked the wrong thingy. Okay. Gitlins 12. Oh, nice. A new version of Gitlins came out. So this viewer said, can I ask you a question? And I'm like, yeah, go for it. But I don't see the question. Okay, add folder to workspace. We are going to open up the Latterly slides. Latterly slides takes a ginormous README and turns it into a slide deck. So this will specifically go under the interview prep stack. And maybe I should call it, maybe it's not like interview prep stack, maybe it's like job search prep stack at this point. Oh, there's a different job search section. It's just not built out. Okay, so I could put it here. And there's also external resources. I'm not really a fan of dividing these. I feel like they should probably be merged. Learn React quickly. Yeah, no. So GitHub pages. I don't like this external resources actually. I want it to be integrated into the job search section. So there's job search, outlining the job search. It all needs to be cleaned up basically. So let me the job search is not cleaned up basically. I can maybe work on that today, but before I go refactoring that, I just want to get my essential information in there. Interview prep stack. So what do I have on here? I have the Latterly curriculum, Starboy, which is specifically for interviews. Yes. Endorsed communities, which is about the job search, not specifically interviews. Algo, Chrome extension, yeah. Flashcard tool. Okay, so those really are targeted at literally interviews. What's this? Helping you get a programming job, basically. So right now, this is an open source curriculum, so you can learn how to code and then go beyond learning how to code to get some social skills, networking tips, land a job, perform in an interview. And yeah, ZMRT is right that this, literally what's open in front of us is called VS Code. That's true. But kind of the bigger thing we're doing here is improving the Latterly Slides curriculum to incorporate a few new tools. One is the ATS thing, and the other is this job search tracker template. I guess I can mention the Rob Kinsella resume templates. I haven't actually used them though, so I'm not sure I want to recommend that. Yeah, I'm not, sorry Rob, I'm not to the point where I'm going to recommend this whole thing yet. Maybe in the future. I'll put that over here so I don't lose track of it. But definitely want to recommend the resume ATS tool. So this will be not directly related to the interview itself, but it will be the part of the job search. Okay. So job search. ATS scanning tool. Make sure I build backend using Node.js. I got 6 to 9 seconds to get the response. Is that normal? Because I'm using Python code. 6 to 9 seconds is way too slow for a like a commercial production app. For your personal projects, it depends how it's hosted. If it's hosted on like Heroku, you could be seeing a cold start. So repeat the process like 5 to 10 times. Like repeat that request 5 to 10 times. If it's slow on the first, I'm the same guy from TikTok. Hey, cool. It was way more ATS friendly. Nice. Yeah, so Sergey, if you do this request like 5 to 10 times and it's slow for like the first 1, 2, or 3, that's okay. You're probably seeing a cold start. If it's slow every time, that's a problem. And you may have a code issue or something else. Could be a query latency. It could be different things, but might just be a code issue. Okay, so make sure resume can find skill keywords, experience, experience time. I think those are the big two things. Can find skill keywords and years of experience. Those are like the big things. Cool. Then the other thing here is the template. You got rid of resume now. Yeah, I'm sus on resume now. I'm not really a big fan. And let's get rid of the /edit here. I think I just want to do this. Or actually, I should grab this link over here. Copy link. Hey, mate, I'm at work at the moment, so can't stay. But are you going to put this on GitHub? Would be super keen to see it. Yes, my friend. Absolutely. And feel free to message me if we lose track of the link somehow. But in my bio is the link to Latterly, and this is going to be incorporated as part of Latterly slides. It's going to be specifically under the job search section. So this is totally open source. And yeah, I would also encourage your revisions. If you take a look at it and you see there's some issue, please let me know and we'll work to improve it. So this is the job search tracker template. Preview this, VS Code open preview. And yeah, the links look correct. So I click that, opens up the template. Great. Thank you so much. And thanks y'all for the likes. I'm not sure who all gave likes, but I appreciate it. Oh, a present. That's awesome. Thanks again. Okay, so let's say, for example, I go over here to Indeed. Is it possible to get a faster response if I use Django as a backend? Yes, it's possible. Yes, that would be possible. Now, Django, this is a more complicated topic, right? You still need to interface with your database. So you need to identify where's the latency coming from. Python shell library does introduce some latency. It should be trivial on the like maximum of 1 second when you subshell and then your subshell reintegrates. We're getting a bunch of questions. This is cool. Okay. Hey, what are we here for if not to answer the questions? So Ali says, how often should I commit my work to GitHub? Also, do employees care about personal project commit history, or do they want me to see, or do they want to see me contributing to open source projects? I love this question. This gives me a brilliant opportunity to squash a misconception. So a common misconception is that your personal projects on GitHub are different than open source, but they're not. They're the same thing. When I create a repository, I have 81 repositories. These are my projects. Okay, some of them are third-party projects, that's true. But let's say about 70, 75 of them are my own projects. And they're still also open source. So by contributing to my own project, I am an open source contributor. We should not create this false dichotomy. They actually overlap. It's possible to contribute to your own open source projects. It's possible to contribute to your own closed source projects, but they will not appear on GitHub. If it's on GitHub, a public repository, that is open source. If you do some personal projects, you're in your university degree or whatever, you do some personal projects and you don't put it on GitHub, that is closed source personal project, and that's not very impressive. It will be a little more impressive if you deploy it. That could be nice. That could be nice. But it's not open source. Now, if you contribute to third-party open source projects, like you can see here, oh, I guess I haven't pinned any of them, but I've contributed to Angular, I've contributed to Blitz. I don't know if I did anything for React. Blitz. Yeah. Blitz, blitzjs.com. So these are third-party. Like, I did not originate the repositories, but I forked them and did that style of contribution. That's really cool. but it's not necessarily better. If I am looking at your portfolio, I certainly want to see that you have done original work. And then it becomes a comparison. So if you've done documentation changes on the Angular repository, I don't consider that equally impressive to if you have made your own application. It's an actual substantive application. So it's actually more complicated than just like, what kind of repository am I contributing to? It's like, what is the substance of your commits? Now, if you're making, so there's shallow work and deep work. Shallow work is like a documentation change, or having a discussion in the issues. GitHub will actually count those as contributions, even though they're not code contributions. They are contributions, and they should be valued at a non-zero positive amount, but they're not going to be valued at a large non-zero positive amount. Where creating your own, like I think latterly slides, for example, is something that I've created in this this Next.js portfolio template. This is something that I've created. It's only about 25 commits, so I think this is sort of like the approximately the minimum number of commits to do something useful. Is like 20 or 25 commits. By the time you get to 100 commits, I say you've certainly done deep work. This one, I would call it moderate, but moderately deep. I wouldn't call it shallow, I wouldn't call it deep, but it's moderately deep and useful. And the useful thing is the key thing. The utility of the project is much more important than the number of commits, say. So Elise says, it's because I have projects that I haven't pushed to GitHub. They are deployed. Should I put them on GitHub? I would recommend so. Now, if that is going to create an insecurity risk, let's not do it. Don't put your private keys on GitHub, right? Your secrets, don't put them on GitHub. You might need to create two versions. One is like your proprietary version that's secret, and the other has those secrets stripped out, and that version is sent to GitHub. So I have a friend who did that as well. What is this guy's name? I have to check my email. Hold on. Trevor. Shout out to Trevor. Let me show you what Trevor did. Following this guy, Trevor Wallace. You can see that Trevor Wallace has a template of his own as well. Here it is. I think this is the right one. Hopefully this is the right one. Simple React portfolio template, he says. Can you give any tips on how to find other projects to contribute on? Absolutely yes. So give me a moment. Let's put that in the back of the queue, but that's a great question, and I have an answer for you. The short answer is B. Dougie. The short answer is find B. Dougie. Where's B. Dougie? Oh no, that's not the right B. Dougie. Where's the real B. Dougie? Yeah. So the short answer is open sourced. Like B. Dougie has a bunch of projects that are going to help you find and contribute to find your next open source contribution. OpenSauce.pizza, hot.opensauce.pizza. These are awesome for beginners, you see? Free Code Camp, great. So check out these. And then I also have my own 2 cents that I'll give you, but let's put that in the back of the queue. So to wrap up the point, Trevor has a simple React portfolio template. So let's view the live. Elmer Fudd, front-end developer, resume, about me. So you can see, and then if you scroll down here, it just has lorem ipsum. So this is a public template. Now, if I go to Trevor's personal website, if I can remember what the URL is, maybe I check his Twitter, wallacecreative.com. See, this is a good reason to have like your website on your Twitter and so forth. Everything should be connected. It makes it easy to look up. It's really nifty. So here is, he's using his own template. No, this is not it. Must be a different website. Okay, let me check my email again. Yep, it's a different website. Cool. So here he is using his own template, and if you scroll down, you can see there's no lorem ipsum. There's proper description text, and it looks really great, doesn't it? Here's pick my meals. You can click, and it will take you to the Heroku app, and it's actually deployed, and it works. This is an absolutely brilliant, high-quality portfolio right here. So to finally answer your question, Ali, it could be the case that you have some deployed site like this, but it contains some proprietary secret API keys and so forth that you should not publish. So you create a second version, which is a templatized version that has the secrets stripped out, and you replace some boilerplate text, some boilerplate screenshots. Actually, this would be slightly nicer if Trevor threw some boilerplate screenshots in there instead of these. These are just empty links, right? And so therefore it presents a broken image tag. But that's nitpicking, because this is already a ton of work and value that he's provided for free. Can you use GitHub with AWS EC2 to make your API open source? You can. Need to be careful how you do that, because again, you could end up publishing secrets, and that could become a security risk, and that could become costly. Basically, I would not maintain the connection. That's the approach I would take. I would create a second repository in that scenario. If you're talking about the API, I would strip out your keys, and I would publish the useful code on GitHub, and I would not have any live connection to EC2. Yeah. Okay, I understand. Great. Okay, so now how to contribute. So I've given a shout out to our friend B. Dougie, and his project's open sourced, and then the new one is hot.opensauce.pizza. So these are powerful tools. But I have one more tip that I'll give you, and that is Discord-driven development. Let's see, is this in my Latterly? Have I put this in Latterly yet? Discord. Looks like I have not. So I need to do a review of my own TikToks. I've made no kidding, maybe 1,000 TikToks since the last time that I updated the Latterly Sides curriculum. And one of the things in my TikTok is Discord-driven development. So let's see if I can just find it on TikTok briefly.
People on TikTok love to talk about how amazing it is.
View profile. Can I search within profile? Maybe searching hashtag Discord would be better. Or maybe not. No, there's going to be a bunch of unrelated TikToks over here. Let's see. This is where our friend Restaurant. So make parts of your website or application open source, like cool UI elements that you built. Yeah, that's right. Ideally, what you would do is... See, I have. That's not a good example. Ideally, what you would do is the thing is entirely open source except for a secrets file, and you would have one secrets file, and you put all your secrets in there, but the rest of the code is open source. Ideally, you could set it up that way, but that can be difficult if you need to refactor your whole application. So, yeah, if you can open source part of it, that is a great step. I need to make sure I'm following. Write your account name and then the hashtag. Oh, is it? Okay, brilliant. So let's see, this would be my account name. And then I'm looking for either Discord or open source, something like that. Wow, thank you very much. What is this? John Slash? I wonder why that result is showing. So there's a few false positives, but in general, this seems to be a great strategy. So there's my username and then Discord. Yeah,
best way
so this is
to
it.
Start contributing to open source. Great question. Let's dive right into part 2, how to get started contributing to open source. This idea is inspired by / copied directly from B. Dougie.
Yep. So this is the TikTok about Discord-driven development. So let me put this quickly on Latterly slides. I need to do a more holistic audit of the Latterly slides. WordPress alternative for Ruby developers includes a CMS, blog form, and email functionality. That's kind of cool. Violet Rails, 15 hours ago, he's in it. Maybe account name. No problem, man. I found it. Thank you. So I'm going to slide this over and check that out as well. This is our friend Don Ristorone. I should be following him, am I not? Oh, yeah, I'm already following. So his name is Shashke. But I think he goes by Don. Cool. So, I'll leave that there. That's for another time. Trevor Wallace, we discussed. B. Dougie, great. Actually, I don't need his bdougie.dev. I just want to retain opensauce.pizza and hot opensauce.pizza. So those are good ways to find places to contribute. The other that I would say is 2 more places, or 3 more places. 1, contribute to Latterly. It's still very much in progress, and it's very beginner friendly. It's just README edits. And the current curriculum in this README file is focused on learning React. If you would like to suggest, oh, cool computer man, GitHub, bro, thanks. If you would like to suggest a curriculum to help other people learn something else, like I have a friend who's really great at iOS. I wish he would contribute. How to develop for with Swift. So that's one thing. Another thing is stuff that you already use. So for me, I've made a bunch of contributions to the Blitz framework. Why? How did I come up with that? Well, because I was using Blitz. I became familiar with it, and then I stubbed my toe and I said, hey, this is something that needs fixed. And I went and fixed it. That's immensely valuable. And then third and final would be your own projects. Don't underestimate this. If you have a problem and there's not an existing software solution, but you know a way to fix it, make a tool. It can be a simple tool. It doesn't have to be a complicated tool. Make your own tool, and that is valuable. Contributing to third-party libraries is valuable, but, and I realize this comparison is hard, especially for the junior. Try not to overvalue or undervalue yourself and the third-party library. How do we measure value? Measuring value is determined by fixing problems. Okay, it's not determined by the reputation of the place that you commit, etc. If you can fix your problem in a better way than the library, do it. But if making a whole application yourself is a ton of effort and you could just contribute to someone else's library and fix it quicker, do that. That's how you go about thinking through, where am I going to get the value per effort, the bang for my buck, as it were, the return on investment to my time as a developer. That's how you think through it. That should be the mental model, is what are the actual problems that I'm solving? If I update the documentation for the third-party library, I'm fixing a small problem for, is it going to be for a lot of people or is it going to be for a few people? Kind of depends on like how many people are looking at that documentation page, right? So you multiply that out, you get the value. Then compare that to, what if I build my whole own application? Am I solving this just for me? And maybe that's good enough, because if it's a lot of value for me, that could be better than a tiny amount of value for a lot of other people. They were going to fix that documentation anyway, right? But if you're fixing a problem for yourself and it's not a lot of value for you, if it's like a tiny amount of value for you compared to a tiny amount of value for many other people, probably help other people, right? So that's the mental model I go with. Okay, cool. So I'm going to close some of these. and start that, and I don't need this anymore. So what we're doing now is we have the ATS scanning tool, the job search tracker template. Cool. Let's add here, say Discord, like Discord driven open source contributions. This should be its own page. So we have job search, subtitle, another one I like is Hacktoberfest. So there's the TikTok open source. I jumped over to TikTok. Seems LinkedIn stream was 5-minute delayed. That stinks. Well, good to see you over here. Let me also plug in my phone charger. Guess I was getting low on battery. Okay. Cool. So took care of these links. Boom, boom. We got the ATS scanning tool. And this is, yeah, the other thing is the social networking. So we need to finish out the job search tracker template. I need to fill it out some more. And then I want to do scripts. So this will be contact scripts, like social, like job search networking scripts. I guess I can blog that in the form of a blog article. I guess that makes sense. We'll link over to the interview prep stack. Doesn't want those to be adjacent. How did I do this elsewhere? So when I have a subsection, overview of the front end path, overview of the job search, trial by fire, external. Okay, I just did it sort of like plain text like that. Okay. So, so this would be, and do I do it on the first one? External resources. The first one is no subtitle. Okay. Got to keep it consistent, right? So we have job search, then we have job search open source contributions section. Time to learn. I'll comment this. Oh no, thoughts on boot camps. If you pick the right one, here, I'll get to that in a minute. Let me fix my my green screen has gone kaput. I don't know what kaput literally means. Okay. I'm published on this topic, coding boot camps. Hireability and educational prestige is the research paper that defines the rule to find a high quality coding boot camp. A high quality coding bootcamp, a prestigious bootcamp, is associated with significant improvements to hireability. That is your ability to land a job. So the rule is you go to course report. When making an application to solve a problem, does it matter how niche the problem is? Yes, it does. What you want to do is you want to do two things. You want to solve a problem that you can effectively communicate to your employer. Your employer needs to be able to understand what you're solving. So if it's very niche, it might be difficult to do an elevator pitch and concisely communicate what you're doing. So I recommend a blog. And the second thing you want to do is that you want to do something personalized to you that's not so boilerplate like tic-tac-toe or calculator game that everyone does and there's nothing personalized to you. With a blog, it's extremely common, extremely understandable, but it's still personalized to you because you're going to contribute original content to that blog. So some of the standard projects I recommend is blog and your own portfolio site. Everyone has a portfolio site, but it can still be tailored to you. And Code Foundry has also a really great, they say the #1 project that's guaranteed to land you a job, and I don't really disagree with them. I think it's like complicated to implement, but if you implement it, I would give you a job, and that is a issue tracker. So here's the Code Foundry. One project. Oh, I misspelled Foundry, sorry.
Today, we're going to demo the one project guaranteed to get you a software job.
Original video, here it is.
Today, I'm going to show you
this video right here. Let me move my face so you can see it quickly. Top left, one coding project idea guaranteed to get you a software job. It's from 2019 and it's still 100% valid. So that guy knows his stuff right there. You want to make an NFT analysis tool? Yeah, I think as long as you can communicate it effectively. I think NFTs are not too niche within the tech community. So like in the American public or in the global public, they're pretty niche, but within programming circles, most people know what an NFT is at some level. So I think, yeah, that project would be cool. You would be able to communicate it, I think. Anyway, so here is, I always start free first. Oh, there's a big chat going on in TikTok. Let me finish up my thoughts and then I'll address some of the, yeah, App Academy's all right. Let me finish up my thoughts and then I'll get to some of these comments. So you go to course report and you go browse schools, all schools. You want to sort by most reviewed. Do not sort by best reviewed. Don't do it. You're going to get, I'll show you. You're going to get 5 stars with 1 rating. See, I told you. Do not do that. I would rather have 4.5 with 1,000 ratings than 5.0 with 1 rating. So go for most reviewed and then just go from top to bottom. Lewagen, excellent. Last time I checked, they weren't in the US. Maybe that's been changed. But from a global perspective, really excellent. New Camp is cool, but they are a different model and it takes 22 weeks. So you need to weigh if that's going to work for you. They are affordable. That's a plus, but they're taking 22 weeks, which is longer than average. So there's an opportunity cost. You could be employed earning your salary as an engineer. So when you net that out, maybe it's actually kind of expensive, right? And I'm not super convinced that their learning is incredibly deep. So I don't know. But they're well reported and they're affordable. They're not your traditional boot camp though. Code Foundry, highly recommend. I just showed you the guy's YouTube video. So this is an excellent one. App Academy is a good one. App Academy is kind of expensive, but they're going to land you a job. Iron Hack, yep. And some of these I'm not familiar with, and so General Assembly is almost the cutoff point where it's like, I don't really want to go. They're at 4.32. Let's see if anyone is like at 4.27. No, right? I think General Assembly is like the worst one that I still recommend. So I do recommend them. And now you see there's fewer reviews, 400. So the rule is 4.25 or higher with more than 400 reviews. So here, Tech Elevator, it might work. That rule that I tested, it doesn't mean that like under that cutoff you're immediately bad. It just means I don't have evidence that you're good. You could be good. I would speculate that Tech Elevator is probably pretty good, but I haven't looked into them. But you can see they're really close. Like within the next year, they would probably, or within the next 6 months even, they might get those additional 20 reviews and get over the benchmark. But I'll tell you, Flatiron, I have some experience with Flatiron. Look, none of these places are perfect. So like I know a student that went to Flatiron, they got a job. They graduated, they got a job. It was stressful while they were in school. And Coding Dojo, I think, is in a similar camp. They'll get you a job. I don't know if they're really the best, but they'll get you a job. Udacity is not a traditional coding boot camp. They have the nano degree, and the nano degree is effective. It's not clear to me that it's equally effective to a true boot camp. Yeah, that's what I'll say. Udacity, really great. I'm a big fan of Udacity, but I'm not convinced that it's equally effective compared to. I'd really go for App Academy or Career Foundry. If you like said, John, in the U.S., in the United States, give me your top two. I'm going to call it a tie. Yes, I realize technically Code Foundry is 468 compared to App Academy's 466. Right, I realize that. I think it's statistically not different. So I'm going to say those are my top two. Maybe I should do a TikTok on that. Yeah. Those are my top two in 2022, or in March anyway. We'll see come November if that's still true. Cool. So that is my thoughts on bootcamp. So let me go through these comments quickly, and then we'll get back on track with the scripts. So thoughts on boot camps, they good. How did you learn to code? I taught myself. It took me about a year though. So I would consider that kind of a wash with a coding boot camp. A coding boot camp will take you closer to 6 months, maybe 4 months, depends on the boot camp duration. So, and then you got to pay like 10 to 20 grand. But if you are in a boot camp 6 months and then you're employed at 70 to 80K plus, then what's that additional 6 months of salary opportunity cost? It's 35 to 40 grand. So you're actually better off. You're actually better off going through a 4 to 6 month boot camp and landing a job compared to taking a whole year to teach yourself. So I did self-teach. It took me about a year, but I don't necessarily recommend that. I think for most people, a coding boot camp is better than self-teaching. There are still some people, if you're like a wicked good self-learner, you can teach yourself in under 4 or 5 months. And if you don't really have problem social networking, and then you can actually go interview. There's a small number of people there that, yeah, self-teaching is going to be optimal for them. I think that's not most people though. Okay. Put is edit update. No go University of Austin. Pipe lolcat with every command in terminal. It's the way. Udemy is a good learning platform. I'm not a fan of Udemy, y'all. I'm not. So if you go to Udemy, you will get a video course and you might get a certificate. A certificate has incredibly little value. It's generally the case with coding certificates. It's generally the case that in a statistical test, you will not even detect a statistically significant change to hireability with a single certificate. If you have a collection of certificates, say 5 to 10, you can get some signal. But with, especially off a Udemy course, that let's say it's a Udemy course nobody's heard of, which is most Udemy courses, because there's such a diaspora of Udemy courses and authors, most of those are not going to register on anybody's radar. If you do a well-known Udemy course from a well-known creator, like the guy who, I can't even remember, like React the Right Way, No, not that. It's just not worth the time. If I'm having to struggle this hard to even remember the Udemy course creator's name, and it's like the most famous Udemy course creator, that shows you that at interview time, when you're talking to an employer, they're not gonna know or register any signal. Always start free first, and I do agree with this, right? So starting free first. So as I said, there's a very small number of people that it will be optimal for them to self-teach. Even though it's a small number of people, how do you know if it's you? Trial and error. So give it a shot, and I say time box it to a month. If you're struggling, get out of there. And then I'll do a 3 strikes and you're out rule, where maybe I try JavaScript, give it a month, ew, this is awful. Maybe I try Python, give it a month, ew, this is awful. Let's try Swift, give it a month, ew, this is awful. 3 strikes and you're out. What you've determined is either you just hate programming or you hate learning on your own. And so I definitely encourage everyone to try learning to code on their own before they reach out for help, but time box it to as little as a couple weeks. You might be able to determine, I just really hate, like, I need structure, I need mentorship, I need external holding to account, and the other things that come with either a course or something like that. So as little as 2 weeks or as much as 3 months, I would keep it in that window. By the 3-month mark, if you have not made substantial progress, so with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, you're getting on that learning path to landing a job in web development. By the 3-month mark, you should be able to pass a LinkedIn skill assessment for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Not React yet. That's fine. If you're self-teaching, if you know those other 3, React will come in month 4, probably, unless you go on vacation or something. Okay, a lot of low-level boot camps I heard are just using outdated YouTube videos. It's true. It's true. So you need to find a good coding boot camp. Let's not look at the average coding boot camp. The average coding boot camp is a bad idea. And certainly worse than average is a very bad idea. You need to look at the top 1, 2, 3% of coding boot camps. And I told you the rule to find that, by the way. Cool. So I think that basically answers it. University boot camps, UT boot camps, I don't care. I'm not impressed. I don't care that you're university affiliated. A lot of them are quite terrible. The test is whether it is well reviewed, and I gave you the rules. 400 reviews or more, 4.25 or better, well reviewed on Course Report. And that is going to determine whether you're a good coding boot camp, regardless of whether you're university affiliated. I give 0 value to that. 0 positive, 0 negative. I found Team Treehouse, which is more of a library like Udemy. Cool. What certificates do you recommend? Are Google, Amazon Cloud good? Google and Amazon certs are great. They're really great. And LinkedIn certs are substantially less great, but I still like them. The LinkedIn skills certification will be valuable for a couple reasons. One, it will help you know whether you're able to pass a technical screen. Not an algorithm style screen, but just a domain specific knowledge test, where it's do you know what the document object model is? Do you know the CSS rule that will change the size of a font? Those are domain specific knowledge tests, and some unstructured interviews, they'll ask you these trivia questions, and you need to know. So the LinkedIn skill assessment will help you know if you're able to pass those, because they just barrage you with fact checks. And the other thing it'll do is if you pass, it will float you and prioritize you for application to matched jobs, which is a win. That being said, they're not particularly impressive when an employer, a human, reads it. It's kind of okay, the guy's not a total idiot, maybe. It's not really impressive from a human perspective. I'm so confused on the LinkedIn skill assessments. I couldn't pass the basic JavaScript one. Then you need to go back and check your domain fundamentals. You need to learn some fundamental JavaScript over again. A lot of stuff I never learned or heard. Yeah, and see, that's one of the reasons it's useful. Better that you fail the LinkedIn skill assessment than that you fail an interview, right? So that's why it's a useful job interview prep tool. So that is on the LinkedIn and sort of Indeed.com and Pluralsight skill assessments. They're useful, but they need their role. The Google and Amazon certs are in a whole other domain of use case. You can literally just get one Google cert, and if you get the right one, you can get a job on that one cert. So this is less my expertise. I will tell you, in this, where's that paper that I wrote? The paper that I wrote that defines the prestige rule for coding boot camps, as far as I can tell, all of the Google certs are as good as the best coding boot camps. They're equivalent. I don't know. It's probably the case that like there are certain certs that are better than others. I don't have any of that scope. What I have research on is literally the word Google. People are immediately impressed. VYN FYI. Don't know what it means. VYN. I have no idea what you're saying. Okay, VYN FYI. Can you retake LinkedIn skill assessments as many times as you want? You can, but you are rate limited. So I don't know if it's like 3 or 6 months. Okay, Coding Carver says I have to wait till May until I can take the JavaScript one again. Hey, Carver, when did you take it previously? Is that a 3-month hold or a 6-month hold? I think it's something like that. Now you could take the LinkedIn and then take the Indeed and then take the Pluralsight, and you could do one a month. So you don't necessarily need to wait 3 to 6 months. You need to wait 1 or 2 months. And Pluralsight you can take unlimited. You just have to pay. So trade-offs, right? You could potentially take the Pluralsight test once a week. I would tell you though, don't over-optimize on just studying for the test. You should use it as an indicator that you need to go back and brush up your fundamentals. So I would pair it with the Codecademy. Let me show you. Front end path. There's a lot of info here, isn't there? I do personalized mentoring. If you're like, dude, this is too much information, I need like some one-on-one sessions, check the link in my bio. I'm pretty full these days, but I'll try and find some time for you. Specifically, if you are interested in doing a group session, that's something that scales a lot better for me. If I can do a groups with a small group, right? Like between 1 and 8 people. I think research shows after 8 meetings start to get less efficient. Anyway, 8 attendees. So yeah, this front-end engineer career path will brush you up on everything you need to pass those skill assessments. So if you're like, hey, I think I'm good, take the skill assessment. If you pass, you're probably good. If you fail, let's go check this Codecademy Pro front-end engineer. Or go for a coding bootcamp, or go for some mentorship. Or a university degree program. It takes a lot longer. It can be a lot more expensive, but it's optimal for a certain type of learner who needs to take more time. What do you think about the Roadmap SH React curriculum? No, I don't like it. Let's go see. Maybe they fixed it recently, but last time. So here's the thing. I look at this. It's not telling me what to do. Front end, back end, DevOps, React, Angular, Android. Well, wait. Do I pick React or front end? Well, I thought React was front end. Is Angular front end? So it's so confusing. I don't consider Roadmap SH even to be a good roadmap because it doesn't actually tell you what to do. I say learn React, not Python. So I'm very clear. If you follow me, you'll click this button. So let's see. Let's say I assume that I'm going to do React. Now look at this shit. No, this is so confusing. You do not need all of this. You don't need it. You don't need it. Let me say something else. If you do know all this stuff, you can absolutely get a job. Okay? So credit where it's due, silver lining. If you master all of these skills, not even master, if you know them sufficiently to pass a skill assessment, which what I would say would be like moderate to high competency, but not mastery. If you have moderate to high competency on all of these little rectangles, you can totally qualify for a junior, even a mid-level React job. Yeah. So React connects to front end. I think you missed my point. My point is, let's pretend I'm somebody that doesn't know anything about coding, and I show up on this page. I don't know which roadmap to even click. You see my point? And you say React connects to front end. Well, why are there two different links? No. This is what you mean by connect, that there's like a one little square here? Is the front end good in your opinion? Hey John, do you have a... Okay, I'm getting a bunch of questions. I guess it's a good thing, right? Thank you for all the questions. Hey, if I'm answering your questions and you're getting value out of it, throw some likes on the thing, right? So I think learning front end is good. I don't like the roadmap SH. I don't like roadmap SH. They make everything way too complicated, in my opinion. There's a lot of good stuff on here, but like GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, I don't need all those. Maybe it's saying, maybe like the purple check with the yellow box means like that's essential, maybe? Let's go with that theory. So what is the internet? Yeah, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, yeah. Version control, basic Git, web security, hosting service, cool. Package managers, yep. This confuses me a little because if package manager knowledge is essential, how are neither NPM nor Yarn essential? Like, you need to know one of them. If you don't know either of these, then you don't know this from a front-end perspective. Are they saying SAS is essential? No, it's not. SAS is not essential. Are they saying BEM is essential? No, it's not. So I think the theory that yellow background, purple check mark. Well, let's just go for purple check mark. Let's say yellow background is not essential, but purple check mark is. Well, now all this stuff is essential. Let's see. So semantic HTML is not essential. Conventions and best practices are essential. What does that even mean? Maybe if I click it, it tells me what it means. Let's give them the benefit of a doubt. Let's say that they correctly identify what that means. Cool, so I think it's good to know all of this stuff. What is BEM? BEM is a particular way that you name CSS classes. So we'll say BEM CSS naming. Block element modifier. It's a thing, but like the majority of companies don't even use BEM. It's like, you don't need to know it. In fact, I think the average developer doesn't know it. The average employed developer. Forget about juniors or like people learning. It's not like a bad thing to know it, except the opportunity cost where you could be learning actual job essentials. So, but like after you land a job, great, learn it, and then you can determine if you care about it or not. I am aware of BEM, and I don't care about it. I think it's not even a very valuable convention. Anyway, that's a topic for another discussion. And then here's OOCSS, Object-Oriented CSS. It seems like it's grayed out. What does that mean? I actually prefer OOCSS to BEM. I don't know why it's gray. Is this Atomic Styles? Smacks? I like Object-Oriented CSS and Atomic Styles. I've not heard of this phrase. So they actually don't even mention Atomic Styles. But it's not a big deal because all that's optional. I hate this roadmap so much. The purple check marks, they're saying that React is essential. I don't know. That's my theory. Okay, here it goes. Personal recommendation, opinion. Cool. And then I wouldn't recommend. So they don't recommend object-oriented. But yeah, you should know how the internet works. Why is there not like a purple check mark on order and roadmap? Not strict. Learn anytime. Basic usage of Get, web security knowledge. Okay, I agree with that. They're like, you can learn it, but you can learn it anytime. Get at least basic knowledge of these. What is green? What is green? Alternative option, pick this or purple. Okay. So they're saying Redux, MobX, or Recoil. Okay. I think they made the right choice there. Not because Redux is great, but it's what employers are aware of. And this is where it starts to get too much. They recommend you learn TypeScript. I love TypeScript, but you don't need it to land your first job. Next.js, I love it. You don't need it to land your first job. Apollo. I'm not actually sure I love Apollo. I would go React Query. So it's too much, and it's too complicated. I think that's my problem with the roadmap. If you do learn everything on here, you're totally going to land a job, but it's not an efficient use of your time. Okay. So I think we got kind of off topic, but hopefully I addressed the questions there. All right, let's go back. Got over 500 likes. I appreciate that, y'all. Thank you very much for the likes. So what we are doing, already got the resume parser. Discord-driven development, open sourced, hot sauced. Right, so ATS scanning tool, job search tracker template, job search networking scripts. So how do I want to do these networking scripts? I could do them in the form of a blog. I think better is, does this still work? I think better would be if I do them as just text scripts. Okay, so that still works. So let's fill this out. Let's say, and now I'll do an example. Now I will do an example where I'm actually fictitiously applying to jobs. So I'll go to Indeed.com. You might also start at LinkedIn. I think these are two great starting points. And I'll say React developer. What happens if I do Python developer? No, let's not go there. That's a different combo. Junior software engineer. Senior, not senior. Front end software engineer. Wow, junior making 6 figures. Okay, maybe I'm cool with it. You call me a junior, but you pay me 6 figures. Let's go. And they say Java, TypeScript, and Python. What? I don't know about that. It's an or operator. Java, Python, or. Cool. So I'm applying here, right? Is this the company Indeed? This is a role at Indeed. Okay, cool. That might be confusing. Let me do a different example just to make it clear. So this one says Deloitte. So I'm on Indeed, but applying to Deloitte. I go apply, and now what I do is I go over to LinkedIn, and I type in Deloitte. And look at all these people that work at Deloitte. I'm looking for people. And I want to look for 3 kinds of people. I want to look for engineers, managers, and recruiters. Engineers, managers, recruiters. So, and what I say to these people is different depending on their role. Lead talent acquisition, that would be like a lead recruiter, so an experienced recruiting specialist. So I might reach out to these people. I want to go senior but not executive. So I don't want to talk to other juniors generally. It could be different. Here's some of the exceptions. An exception might be we have something in common. We went to the same coding boot camp. We're both self-taught developers. We both went to the same university. I actually know that person. They're like already friended me on LinkedIn. So in these exceptions, it would be worth it to reach out to a junior, perhaps. Or if you've already tried to ask seniors and you're like not getting a response, you could ask a junior, and you could do something along the lines of, what was the onboarding experience, if you want to take the conversational approach that way. But generally, I like to go more senior because they have more leverage in the hiring process. So if I talk to a senior recruiter, they're going to be more effective at plugging me in and getting me a job. If I talk to a senior engineer, if they refer me, it's going to carry more weight. If I talk to a senior engineering manager, they're going to be able to pull more strings and prioritize me for more roles relative to an ordinary hiring manager. That one is like squishier because even an ordinary hiring manager has quite a bit of sway already. So here's some people I might reach out to. Lindsay, the lead talent acquisition, would be a recruiter I might reach out to. Austin, a senior software engineer. And let's see if we can find a hiring manager. Could be a hiring manager, a project manager, an engineering manager, some kind of manager. Here's a campus recruiting specialist. That's an interesting case where if I am a new grad, I might reach out to her. Typically, I wouldn't reach out to her, though. Managing director, maybe. That feels like a bit too senior, though. So at a certain level of seniority, they're not involved in the hiring process directly anymore. You see what I mean? So we want to try and target a manager that is literally hiring people. And sometimes directors are involved, but sometimes they aren't. You can feel free to just like click on their thing, and if they might say something like "I'm hiring," that's a great flag to reach out to them. But I see no such, and we can look at their activity, full creeper mode, right? Full stalker mode. And I don't see him posting things like "I'm hiring, reach out to me." So I'm not going to reach out to him. Still trying to find a manager. It's really hard. So one approach I might take is I might reach out to a recruiter and ask them to connect me with a hiring manager. This one's our fault. We're looking into it. Senior software engineer. That's another thing you can do. If you talk to an engineer, you'll have your conversation, and then you can ask to get connected with a engineering manager, or hiring manager, or project manager. Government and public services consulting sourcing manager. That's the kind of manager that I would not reach out to. I want to look for an engineering manager, a hiring manager, or a project manager. And that person may be considered a project manager, but it doesn't seem to be related to software developer scope. Doesn't seem like an optimal networking target. Senior manager at Deloitte. We're talking to Bobby. Cool, found one. And so these three people, I will message one per day, maybe even all of them at the same day. Like the worst case, they all respond positively. That's fine. Yeah, just reach out to them. And then we want to follow the 3 strikes rule. So you can follow up once per week. You don't want to annoy people. So following up once per week is a good pace. And the third time that you reach out to them, you're moving on. You're not expecting a response. You're moving on. 2,500 likes now. Awesome. So, SWE, manager, or recruiter, right? These are the 3 roles. Contact role, contact name. So, we'll say Deloitte. I'm going to fictionalize their names because I don't want people to actually bother them, but I'll give this an asterisk. I'll give this a double asterisk, and over here should be one of SWE, manager, recruiter. Should be one of submitted, follow up 1, follow up 2, follow up 3, tech screen, main round, final round, offered and rejected, right? Offered, rejected. Main round, final round, offered, rejected. Cool. So we'll say follow up 1. Job title. Here I'll say job post title. Just to make sure it's clear, do you have to have credits to message on LinkedIn? No. Yeah, LinkedIn has like special rules about who you can and cannot message. You can like pay for credits to message anybody, but you really don't need to. You might find that people that you would like to message, you may not be able to in some cases, but in many cases, and I would dare say most, you can find a way to contact them without paying for credits. It might be, first of all, you can just message people on LinkedIn often. Often their recruiters they'll be paying for LinkedIn Recruiter Premium or whatever, and so you can reach out to their recruiters even if you can't reach out to the manager, and you can reach out to the recruiter and say, hey, would you be able to connect me with so-and-so so I can learn more about the job? So that's one approach, and then they'll be able to put you in connection through email or outside of the LinkedIn system. Another way is that you can often look up their email or find them on Twitter. Those are basically the kind of like professionally acceptable ways to do it. If it's a software engineer, you might be able to find their contact through GitHub. They might have a personal website. Those are acceptable. You don't want to be doing things like contacting them through Facebook. You don't want to call their cell number without prior permission. So those are some of the things that are not professional. But in general, you shouldn't need to pay for credits. If you want to go ahead and do that, if it's like you got spare money and this is going to save you like a week's time, cool, go for it. But I don't think it's really necessary. Okay, so job post title, what was it? It was React Developer? It was React Engineer. Cool. How do I do that? Control-Shift-V, special paste maybe? Special paste. No formatting. Values only. No, it didn't work. All right, I guess I can just unbold it. That's not too difficult, is it? But it's like a different font and stuff. How annoying is that? Noto-sans, default. Cool. React Engineer, job post URL. Here's the URL, and we can just test this. Control-T, Control-V, enter. Test that and verify that it brings up the right post. Cool. Verified. Contact name, we'll say Billy Not Real. Billy Not Real. This is a manager, and here's the contact URL, linkedin.com/Billy is not real. And I'll do, let's see. And you want to max out at 2 roles at the same company. More than that, and you're like annoying people. So we'll do Deloitte. Let's see if Deloitte has like a front-end engineer or something. Yeah, maybe software/data engineer. Maybe I'm interested in that as well. A little different than React World. I really hate the formatting. 10, okay. Bold these. I want to go into cloud engineering. Cool. Do you have a certain way or template you use to message these people? Yeah, we're going to do that after I'm done with this job search tracker template. The last part of the stream, we will do scripts. That's like a major thing that I'm contributing in this stream. You have to paste in bar above. Not sure what you mean. Okay. And then here, this one. We will say that they already offered. We'll pretend that. Job post URL for this one is verify this URL works correctly. And it brings up software data engineer. Yes, it does. Cool, cool. So this is our job post link, job post URL. This will be Sarah, not real. And Sarah is a she's like a data engineer. And then contact URL will say linkedin.na/because/Sarah ain't real. linkedin.na because Sarah ain't real. But they already offered me at that role. That's cool. So here's another company. This company is going to be Amazon. Already got pipped. No, I'm just kidding. We'll say rejected. And we'll say notes rejected by automated text screen. Algo interview. This will be SWE1. Let's find a SWE1 or SWE1 Amazon. For copy and paste from Indeed. Gotcha. Software development jobs. Find jobs. Senior. No. I want a junior role. IC. Work from home. Duh. I'm not going into the office, nerds. Junior. They're not going to say junior. Full-time. I want full-time. Let's say I'm looking. Yeah, I don't care about the location, right? Because I'm remote. Amazon Games would be cool. Maybe I'm going for, here's a software engineer 2. Let's say I'm going for 2 instead of 1. Yeah. Cool, so here is the post URL. Software engineer 2. Jerry Garcia. Jerry Garcia, like the, isn't there an ice cream like that? Jerry is a manager, and we'll say engineering manager. They'll be linkedin.na because Jerry ain't real. Rejected. And then last, we'll do one more. What's another company? Excuse me, maybe Walmart or I want to do more of a no-name company. So here, let's say I looked for JavaScript developer. By the way, if you know React, you can apply for React developer or JavaScript developer. So check this out. Did that work? Nope, it didn't work. The Indeed.com search is goofy. So this was more. What if I just say React? Now it went down. What if I just say React JavaScript? This is what makes comparison so hard. I've tried to compare Python versus React. So we'll say Python minus React. And let's go look at this. And I think it's Cloud Engineer. I think it won't say React. So let's take a look. Cool. Front-end engineer that is asking for Python. It's really baffling to me. Whatever. I'll do that comparison some other time. I need to do an updated Python versus React comparison. But let's just say I go JavaScript developer, and I'm trying to find a no-name company. And so, yeah, Iridani sounds like no name. This is senior. I don't want senior. Here we go. Lava Map front-end engineer 3JS. So here's a no-name company. Lava Map. And the role is front-end engineer. And then here is the post URL. We'll verify it. Brings it up correctly on the right-hand side. We're good to use it. And then at Lava Map, we connected with Kayla Morrison, who is an imaginary SWE. You know what? Sarah was a SWE. Let's say Kayla's not a SWE. SWE is a not an engineering manager, but a PM. Cool. She's a PM. Nah, because Kayla ain't real. Kayla is not even real. Okay, cool. And then the status here will say that we are in the main round. And notes, I don't know. I don't have any notes. That's all we got. Cool. So this is kind of like an example. We'll save that. And now let's go do some scripts. So I already got this link in here. Let's just double check. This is in VS Code. Looks good. Now we're going to do the scripts. And the scripts I would like to be within Laterally Slides itself. So we'll do a new folder. Let's see, could this be docs, under docs? Yeah, under docs. We already have the endorsed communities. Now I will do the networking scripts. Cool. Let me also update the endorsed communities. I'm not so hot on dev crew these days. Dev crew basically stated like, hey, don't reference us as mentors. Free Code Camp community is great. Faith Tech, Girls Who Code, Blacks in Tech, Latinas in Tech. So there's a couple others. One is like Techeria. Let me check my email real quick. I have a few of these that I was like, I don't know, is it good? I don't know. I even have a mentee that's Hispanic, and he was like, I was in Techeria, but it's meh. In other words, Tech Latino. These are the others basically. Because I am of the opinion, and I think Latinas in Tech is of the opinion, that if you are male, you're still welcome to join. And I still think Latinas, which is the Spanish word means like females, like Latina females. Latinas in Tech is certainly premier for female Hispanics in tech, but I think also male Hispanics in tech too, right? And then there's this tricky part where it's like, well, maybe I'm Hispanic, but I'm not Latino, like maybe I'm a Hispanic living in Europe, Hispanic living in China or Africa. I still generally recommend they join Latinas in Tech, but I'm open to feedback. So anyway, I'm not sure. If you have experience with these, let me know. But currently, these are the ones that I recommend. Cool. And, oh, there's the Black Girls Code. is really cool too, but there's already Girls Who Code, Blacks in Technology, like it gets to be imbalanced, right? If I'm donating to Girls Who Code and Blacks in Technology and like Black Girls Code, it's not an even balance from a D&I perspective of where my donations are going. I'm like overemphasizing one group, even though I like Black Girls Who Code. I'll say also consider. I like that organization, but it feels like if you're giving to all of these groups, then you're not actually doing balanced donation, which kind of feels bad, but it's still a good organization, so I should call them out. I need the ending parenthesis. All right, cool. Free Code Camp for sure. Laterally, Ella Study. These are some good ones. Who else? Vincent. I need to mention Vincent here. These are Tech Talk influencer run communities. Is this website even up? Oh, okay. Okay, so if it's public, maybe I do mention it, right? Yeah, I'll leave that one on for sure. That's funny. The dev crew told me like they're supposed to be anonymous. There's no official list of dev crew members, but there totally is. So whatever. I'll put that down the priority list, but it's still there. We're gonna mention them. This will be 7, and I need to add Vincent specifically. Tech Rally's cool, but I really think Ella should be kind of like the main recommendation after Laterally. Just gonna reorder these basically. James Quick, big fan. And then after Ella, I would recommend Vincent. Vincent, then James, then Tech Rally, then Don. Yeah, and then Dev Crew. There was one more. Who is that guy? Can't remember his name. I gotta.
So you want one of the best.
Gotta hunt him down real quick. Who am I following? Can I see the list who I'm following? Following over here. I might even just like scroll right past him because if I'm not paying attention to the names. Ron Bell, Data Babe. Arrows Snow. It's not Arrows. I might do this later. There's another guy that is it Matt Pearson? No. There's another guy that's really big, like in terms of follower count, and I think he has a community also. I don't remember if he's verified or not though. JT Varney. No, it's not JT. Oh, Matt. Matt has, let's see. Matt has something. I'm going to look into this. I'm not 100% sure if he has a Discord. And Matt, I'm a big fan of this. I'm a big fan of this assessment, Matt, but I'm not really a fan of like using it as a blocker in front of the community. So I'm not going to recommend that. Even though Matt's a cool guy, you should go follow his channel. There's Rob Kinsella. We talked about him. This is just turning into like a review of the people that I follow. David Pagan. No, it's not him. Jake? No, I don't think it's Jake. Is it Rushing Labs? No. Here's Vincent. So at least that was worth it. So I definitely want to recommend Vincent. Beacons Code with Vincent. Here is the Discord. Code with Vincent Discord. Copy link address. Okay. Code with Vincent Discord. Cool. That's Code with Vincent. We're almost to the end of the list of people I follow, so I think I already scrolled past the guy. It's not Jeremy Morgan, no. I feel like his name might be Ryan. There's Dawn. Okay, so let me do the search where I search my own name. And then I'll search for Ryan, and if I can't find it, we'll just move on. So, Don Vanderveer, and then Ryan. Oh no, what is this? Somebody like copied my name or something? That's weird. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. And did I already link this? I think I already linked this. All right, cool. We'll leave it at that. There's Ryan or Brian. I need to add that guy. Cool. So that is revised endorsed communities. Let me commit that separately. This is I'll just use the quick commit over here. Me having zero clue what's going on. Oh, Basically Average, what's up? Basically Average plays League of Legends. So, but I also like teach people to code and land tech jobs. So gaming is like a side hobby. It's not the main, if you will. So this is how to land a job. So I'm about to write some networking scripts. Like when you message people, DM people on LinkedIn, what should you actually tell them? Yeah, that's the idea here. So overview. When following job, like according to Ladderly's job search best practices, when trying to obtain an interview, among other times, it is advantageous to message other professionals, particularly through, it's advantageous to message other professionals. In particular, but like, this document includes scripts that you can use to message other professionals. In particular, these scripts should be tailored to you. These scripts, like, it's a good idea to tailor the language in these scripts to your specific situation. But if you are uncomfortable with the risk introduced by modifying them, you can also use them as is. These specific scripts are given for talking to individuals in 3 roles: other engineers, managers, and recruiters. The goal of these scripts is to improve likelihood of improve the odds of achieving any of several positive outcomes, including obtaining an interview, obtaining a new LinkedIn connection, obtaining a referral, like reference and referral, are those, or a referral or reference, obtaining general advice to facilitate job search, career growth, or skill improvement, like portfolio improvement. Cool. Let's preview this, make sure the formatting's not goofy yet. According to Latterly's job search best practices, when trying to obtain an interview, among other times, it is advantageous to message other professionals. Let's do a line break there, break it up a little bit. And I will also, yeah, the goal, let's do another line break there. And I will do a link. Job search best practices, link to this. Click that, bam. Great, and it takes you to there. Cool. According to Latterly's job search, okay, so now, here's an outline of the scripts that are currently contained in this document. Sweet scripts, manager scripts. Okay, scripts to address, like, manager script sounds like it's what the manager is going to say. What I want it to be is like what you say to a manager. Let me know if you have thoughts on how to word that. I'm just going to call it manager scripts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Request for portfolio review. Two is clarify tech. Like clarify how tech is used within the company. Clarify technical practices. I think those are two. Also, maybe like clarify culture. Let's just say clarify practices. Clarify culture and practices. Culture is like better for the manager, I think. I think we can say culture and practices. That's fine. Request for portfolio review, and then another thing is request for other contact. Cool. I think this is a great starting point. Okay. The underscore is doing something goofy, right? What if I do spaces? I guess that works. Hi blank, I'm applying for a role at blank and I see you work there. I see you all use, and I have some of that in my portfolio. Would you be willing to take a look at the code in this repo? I'm looking to see whether we are using looking to see whether I'm using some tech I'm looking to see whether I'm using some tech like in a professional way, in a way that okay, cool. Let's add some lines. The markdown formatting is kind of wonky. Hi blank, I'm applying for a role at blank and I see you work there. I see y'all. Hi blank, I'm applying for a role at blank and I see you work there. I see y'all use some technology and I have used that in my portfolio. Would you be willing to take a look at the code in this repo? I'm looking to see whether I'm using some tech in a way that would be viewed as competent by engineers at the company. I would love to know if there are any changes you recommend, missing libraries, etc. Thanks. Okay. Post activities. And then we'll also do a script for follow-up scripts. All right, cool. So post activities. Can I do like I guess 4 hashtags and it becomes sort of just like basic text at that point. 1, here we'll go 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, if the engineer responds at all, even to decline a review, thank them for their time and send a connection request. If the engineer recommends edits, thank them and make the edits. only if the engineer says the project looks good, or if you have made recommended changes, do ask for a referral and send a connection request. Do thank them for their time, ask for a referral, and send a connection request. Cool. So that is the move there. Now, what about, that's the portfolio review. What about clarify culture and practices? Please note that you may want to use, like, I'm not even going to mention that. Basically, when you message them, you might have like a free-flowing conversation, message back and forth a bunch of times, and you might use both of these scripts at different points in time. It's not like you just like pick one and you can't use the other. But I think that's so obvious it doesn't even warrant mentioning. So now we have the SWE request, clarify procedures and practices, clarify culture and practices. Hi. I'm not actually going to clarify technical practices. Clarify technical practices, clarify culture, and performance review practices. I think some engineers do care a lot about the culture, but for the majority of engineers, it's like it's not putting your best foot forward. If you're like, hey, I'm wanting to become an engineer, how's your culture? Some engineers will take that well. Other engineers will be like, I want someone who like cares more about the tech, or I'm just not interested in that sort of conversation. There's a lot of engineers that care more about the technology than about the culture. And sending the signal that you as a candidate are technology obsessed makes you look, I think, and I could be wrong here, but I think it makes you look stronger for most employers if you're technology obsessed compared to if you're culture obsessed and technology is taking a back seat. Ideally, you want to be obsessed with both, but what foot do you put forward? And what foot interests the SWE more on average? So I say, let's talk to the manager about culture. Managers are very, very interested in this, right? People management and culture go hand in hand. But many engineers, it's not their primary interest. It's some it may bore, etc. Others are totally receptive and they get it. They're like, work-life balance is so essential. Maybe in the past you burned out. You were burned out at some other company and you want to make sure that, but even putting that foot forward, you're like, hey, I am applying to this company and the main thing I care about is work-life balance and that you're not going to have me working too hard, right? You can see how on the one hand, many engineers will get that, but on the other hand, it's like, is this like a lazy person? And it's sad that that's the perception, but for some engineers it is. So we will clarify technical practices, which is totally makes sense that you would reach out to a SWE. And then also if you care about culture so much, why not talk to the manager? Why are you grabbing an engineer? But if you care about technical practices, it totally makes sense that you are reaching out to the engineer. So I think this is a more appropriate script that I would recommend. Obviously you're tailoring these. So if you're in that conversation and then you sense that this engineer is like informed or receptive or kind of senior or like kind of cares about mentoring people, or if they express concerns that like culture is important, feel free to broach the subject, but I don't think I'm going to put that in sort of like my default recommended script. Okay. Hi. Hey, so-and-so, I'm applying for a role at blank and I see you work there. I see y'all use some tech but I want to learn more about the specific way it's being used. Would you be open to a 15-minute Zoom call where I can ask more about the tech details at I can just see that someone is going to abuse this script, and I'm already laughing about it because they're going to forget to fill in target company, and it's going to be like someone's going to receive the script, and it's going to be like, wow, this is a boilerplate script, isn't it? Like, yeah, just own it. If you make a mistake, just own it. I used a boilerplate script, man. I was nervous about what to say. I used a boilerplate script. I think you'll be forgiven. Hi. So hey Jem, I'm applying for a role at Target and I see you work there. I see y'all use JavaScript, but I wanted to learn more about the specific way it's being used. Would you be open to a 15-minute Zoom call where I can ask more about the tech details? More about probably should change your stream tag. It's League of Legends right now. Damn it. I blame Restream. This tool that I use, I update titles, it says type, I set it to education, and then it fails on Twitch for some reason. I guess maybe because Twitch doesn't have an education tag. All right, thanks for letting me know. Basically average, you rock. I'll be playing League later if that gives me any forgiveness points. Okay, I always forget that like it doesn't work on Twitch, and I need to go fix Twitch specially. Okay, so hey Jem, I'm applying for a role at I suggest Streamlabs OBS. So, okay, I need to learn more about Streamlabs. I'm using OBS. I use OBS with Restream together. But I tried to use Streamlabs, and I just failed hard. I think I don't know how to use it well. Maybe I need to get better educated. I appreciate your recommendation, though. Maybe we can chat more about that offline if you have, like, specific tips. Okay. Yeah, so, hey, Jim, I'm applying for a role at Target. I see you work there. I see y'all are using like Python, but I wanted to know more about the specific way it's being used. Would you be open to a 15-minute Zoom call where I can ask more about the tech details? Would you be open to a 15-minute Zoom call where we can chat those tech details? I think that makes more sense. About tech details like that. About that and other tech about that and some other tech details. Cool. I think that works. Okay, so Sweet scripts clarify technical practices post activities. If like during your Zoom call, ask if you can connect with them on, like, you don't even need to ask, you just send after, like, after your Zoom call, send a LinkedIn connection request. Ask if you have a project using some of the tech at the target company, you can quickly review during the Zoom call or ask for a, there's an educational Twitch tag. My mind is so blown that Restream is failing so hard. It even has the tag and it still didn't work. Oh, Twitch. No, Twitch is fine. That's the fault of Restream, I think. Okay. If you have a project using some of the tech at the target company, you can quickly review during the Zoom call or ask for an offline review. If the tech looks, if the engineer expresses satisfaction with the tech, ask if they would consider being a reference or referral at the company. Cool, that's basically it. Manager scripts. Request for resume review. Hi, contact name. I'm applying for post job post title at, and I see you are a manager there. Would you be open to a 15-minute Zoom call? I would. Okay, hold on. Actually, the Zoom call would be a separate thing. Yeah, that'll be a separate thing. We'll do that separately. Would you be open to, would you, okay, and you should also say, you should also apply already. I just applied for job post title at target company. I see you're a manager there. Hey, contact name. I just applied for job post title at target company, and I see that you are a manager there. Would you mind taking a look at my attached resume? I believe I'm qualified for the role, but I'm not sure that my resume is well made. Edits. Edits welcome. This is in reference to the below job posting. Thanks. Edits. target company. If you have recommended edits or other general advice for applying at... Cool. I think that's pretty well said. Hey Sarah, I just applied for Software Engineer 1 at Walmart and I see that you're a manager there. Would you mind taking a look at my resume? I believe I'm qualified for the role, but I'm not sure that my resume is well made. If you have recommended edits or other general advice for applying at Walmart, I'd love to hear. This is in reference to the below job posting. Thank you. Let's say thank you. Cool. And what about post activities? So this would be manager scripts, request for resume review. Oh, Lyft is now hiring on interviewing.io. I'm good, but that's cool to hear. Manager scripts, request for resume review, post activities. So, if the manager responds at all, even to decline a review, thank them for their time and send a connection request. If the manager recommends edits, thank them and make the edits. If the manager says the resume looks good, yeah, so you don't ask a manager for a referral. You don't ask a manager for a referral. You could ask them to connect you with an engineer, and you could ask the engineer for a referral. But honestly, if the manager says the resume looks good, we should just trust that they're already floating the resume in most cases. I think thanking them for their time and connecting is just the right move. Possibly yeah, that's all you do. If the resume gets floated and the recruiter reaches out, you can ask the recruiter to put you in contact with an engineer. I mean you could, but I just don't think it's necessary to ask the manager to put you in contact with an engineer. It feels like you're like putting a lot of work on the manager at that point, I think. So I think these are all the, basically, yeah. Yeah, I do not recommend that you specifically ask the manager for a reference, referral, or preferential treatment. Simply trust that if they liked the resume, they will already be working to prioritize your candidacy. Cool. That's the request for resume review. And what about the request for clarify culture and performance review process? I'm applying for job post title at Target Company, and I see your would you be open to a 15-minute Zoom call? As a manager, I think you would be able to provide insight into company culture and performance review process. Those are super important to me. I think I might be wording this strangely. Let's see. Make sure I don't have any open questions. Nope, no open questions. Yeah, would you be open to a 15-minute Zoom call? I love how that cuts to the chase. Let's say I am prioritizing, I am interested in my next role. I care a lot about culture. Okay, let's see how this works. Hey Chris, I'm applying for software engineer and test at Indeed, and I see you're a manager there. Would you be open to a 15-minute Zoom call, company culture and performance review process? Company culture and performance review process are two important factors for me as I look for my next role. As a manager, I'm thinking you would be able to provide insight. Thank you, by the way. Thanks in advance. Let's say thanks in advance. Thanks in advance. By the way, I specifically applied for the below role. Let's, instead of saying that, that's kind of a little bit presumptuous. Let's turn it into a question. That's a good technique. Let's see, as a manager, would you have context to share. As a manager, would you have context to share on the topic, or could you recommend a better resource contact? Thanks in advance. By the way, I specifically applied for the below role. I like this for a few reasons. Let me share my thoughts on why I like this. One, the language here is really informal. It's informal, and I think that's a good thing. We don't want to over-formalize these direct messages. It feels inauthentic. So this feels really authentic. It's kind of a run-on sentence. As a manager, would you have context to share? Or could you recommend a better resource/contact? It's kind of informal. It's kind of a run-on sentence. There's sprinkling of corporatism here. So the phraseology of as a manager, comma, the phraseology of would you have context to share? The direct reference to a 15-minute Zoom call. These are all very corporate modern in the communication style. Corporate modern and yet informal, which makes you seem like a confident but competent candidate because you seem familiar with corporate practices. You seem clear, to the point, appropriate, but also not over formal, which would be seemingly inauthentic, and it more of a giveaway that these are not your own words, these are someone else's words, which is kind of true. So not all giveaways are bad. Sometimes giveaways are good because they're communicating truth. And the attempt here is not to mislead, but if we don't raise the question to begin with, if it's just assumed that you're being authentic, that's going to be a point in your favor. And again, I'm recommending you tailor this to yourself, so that it does become, at least in part, your own words, just under the guidance of the script. So those are some of the reasons that I like this communication style. And one more that I'll call out is if the manager is too busy for a 15-minute Zoom call, if they don't want to do a Zoom call, you are still giving them a lower effort option where they can still help you by recommending another resource or contact. A resource could just be a URL. That's very low effort on their part. The fact that it's low effort improves the likelihood that they will say yes. And once you get from a marketing from the perspective of psychology and marketing, once an individual tells you yes once, they are more likely to tell you yes again. So even in their own mind, just think through this thought process. I'm the manager. I could look up that URL and send it to them. That would be pretty easy. So let's say, man, I'm so busy. I don't want to do 15 minutes. I could just look up the URL and send it to them. What's that going to take? 5 minutes? What's the big difference between 5 minutes and 15 minutes? Sure, I'll do a Zoom call. You see how just even thinking through the yes on the resource, which is low effort, gets me to a yes on the Zoom call. And that doesn't always happen, but there's a marginal effect there. The other is that if they recommend a contact rather than a resource, when you reach out to the other contact, your message is extremely empowered because you're not just cold calling them, as it were. You are reaching out as recommended by a manager. So you're going to get a really good response rate on that secondary message, and that's totally great. Don't consider this a loss. If your first message is fly-by-night, it's not responded to optimally, you're going to do, we're going to have the 3 strikes and you're out rule at the bottom here. That is a total win. If the manager says, hey, I can't do a Zoom call, but go talk to my engineer, Jimmy, that is 100% a victory for you. And then the last thing is, do you have any context to share? Would you recommend a better resource contact? Yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's everything I want to highlight there. Cool. Post activity is pretty much the same though. So let's see. I think that does it for the follow-up activities for the manager script. There's a risky move you could do, but I'm not going to recommend it. That's too risky. Cool. Let's retain this. Cool. So that is clarify culture and performance review process with the post activities. Now let's go on to recruiter scripts. Request for resume review. And yeah, right? The recruiter can totally review your resume. So with the request for resume review, you don't need to do a phone call with a recruiter. That's excessive. So hey, hey so-and-so, I'm applying for job post title at Target Company. I see you are a recruiter there. Would you mind checking on my application and resume? I'm wondering one. Would you recommend any changes to improve my resume? Does it seem to fit the role? And 3, what is the normal response time for an application like this? Thank you so much. Here's the job post that I applied to. Here's the specific role that I applied to. Cool. So with the recruiter, the good news is you can be extremely direct and technical, but you're going to be technical about things to do with that job search and hiring process. You're not going to be technical about programming or code or software. They typically don't know that, and they may even misrepresent the truth there. Like recruiters famously get Java and JavaScript mixed up. So don't rely on them too much for their software-facing technical description of the role. But in terms of the details of the job search process, like what is the normal response time for an application like this? That's like a pretty technical detail, but it has to do with the hiring process. So they will be familiar, and it's perfectly appropriate to be direct and not split hairs. Actually, recruiters often prefer this. So with engineers and managers, we're being kind of like careful how we word things. We're not going to directly ask for a reference or anything like that. With a recruiter, we're going to be very direct, and they appreciate that. Even we'll see in the next script, we're going to ask for a contact. Literally going to specifically ask, would you be able to put me in touch with the hiring manager for this job posting? And that's totally appropriate to ask a recruiter. Okay, for request for resume review. Yeah. even to decline a review, thank them for their time, and send a connection request. Yeah, time, like, if the recruiter gives time guidance, feel free follow up on the application status according to the timeline they recommend. Yeah. Cool. That's about it. So you can see with any of these stakeholders, we're sending LinkedIn connections and we're growing our network, if nothing else, right? Request for other contacts. Recruiter scripts request for other contacts. I'm applying for job post title at Target Company and I see your recruiter there. Would you be able to connect me with the hiring manager for this post or an engineer on the team? And let's not do multiple asks in the same message. If this ask goes well, we can separately ask them to review the resume. You don't want to bombard them with like 5 questions in one message, so we'll just keep it to that. Thank you so much. Here's the specific role that I applied to. That's it. That's about the only move there. If they're, well, I mean, I guess this is such an obvious move, but I guess I'll mention it. If they do suggest someone, reach out to the other person once or twice. If you get no response, let the recruiter know. Also, if it went well, if they suggest someone and you had a positive interaction with the other person, let the recruiter know. Basically, just let the recruiter know how it went from there. Cool, so I think this is really pretty good. We've done almost 150 lines of content here. I guess if you drop the empty lines, it's closer to like 100, 120, something like that. Oh, let's do the follow-up scripts. And I've misformatted my hashtags. So there's 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 3. Yep, so this is where I messed it up. So this should be 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 2. This will be 2. There's really no post activities for the follow-up scripts. So with strikes 2 and 3, we want to be a little bit careful. We don't want to annoy like our potential future hiring manager or our potential future project teammate in the engineering department. I think we can totally follow up further with recruiting. It's like actually their job to be responsive to stuff like this. And the strike 3 thing applies to a job posting, not necessarily to an individual. Let's do a preface. So we have follow-up scripts preface and then the actual follow-up scripts. Latterly recommends a 3 strikes rule for job post follow-up. 3 strikes are with respect. This rule so Latterly recommends the 3 strikes rule for job post follow-up. This rule indicates that an individual should follow up 3 times before eliminating. Oh, you know what? There's the offered, rejected, unresponsive should be its own status. This rule indicates that an individual should follow up 3 times before eliminating a job from their search due to unresponsive employer. Due to employer non-response. Due to before declining a job due to lack of employer responsiveness. This rule indicates that an individual should follow up 3 times before declining a job due to lack of employee responsiveness. It is often inappropriate or suboptimal to message the same individual 3 times. This rule is following up on a single job post 3 times may indicate 2 messages to a recruiter and 1 message to a hiring manager, for example. Messaging a hiring manager, in contrast, an unresponsive engineer may simply not be a frequent LinkedIn user, frequent social media. Following an unresponsive engineer may simply not be a frequent social media user. Following up with the engineer 3 times on the same role is annoying. It is firstly is a word, is not effective and may also be considered annoying. Cool. In short, feel free to follow up with non-recruiters once, but in short, if a contact is not responsive, to use this rule properly, do follow up once with an unresponsive contact, but do message a different contact if the original contact remains unresponsive after follow-up communication. Do not follow up multiple times, but do not follow up multiple times with the same unresponsive contact, but do attempt 3 messages let's see. Do not follow up multiple times with the same unresponsive contact, but do attempt 3 messages to the same unresponsive company. Let's just say to the same company, employer or company. Do not follow up multiple times with the same unresponsive contact, but do attempt 3 messages to the same employer or company. But do attempt 3 messages to the same employer or company, like per role. Do not follow up multiple times with the same unresponsive contact, but do attempt 3 messages to the same employer or company for a given role. Moreover, do not apply to more than 3 roles at the same company at the same time. Moreover, do not apply to more than 3 roles. Latterly recommends the 3 strikes rule for job post follow-up. The 3 strikes rule itself has 3 pieces. Three strikes for a role, not a contact. The rule indicates that an individual should follow up 3 times before declining a job due to lack of employer responsiveness. It is often inappropriate or suboptimal to message the same individual 3 times. Following up on a single job post 3 times may indicate 2 messages to a recruiter, 1 message to a hiring and 1 message to a hiring manager, for example. In contrast, an unresponsive engineer may simply not be a frequent social media user. Let's say similarly, an unresponsive engineer may simply not be a frequent social media user. Following up with the engineer 3 times on the same role is not effective and may also be considered annoying. Is not effective and possibly annoying. Let's say do follow up once with an unresponsive contact, but do message a different contact if the original contact remains unresponsive after a follow-up message. Okay, 3 strikes for a role, not a contact. Let's see. Latterly recommends applying for only 1 or 2 roles at a particular company at a time. Latterly recommends applying for only 1 or 2 roles at a particular company at a time. In rare cases, 2 roles may close out within the same job search, and the candidate may be eligible to apply again. In these cases, do feel free to apply for more roles at that company, but latterly recommends and a caveat, a caveat. If the employer is unresponsive for 3 roles, is unresponsive on 3 roles during a job search, reduce priority of applications at this employer. Cool. I think that makes sense, if for no other reason than to... Whoa, that was like some weird lag, wasn't it? Really, there should be no strike 2. So there's really just the strike 1. So yeah. Follow-up script preface, follow-up script. So there's the follow-up script preface, and then there is the follow-up script. Hi again, just wanted to make sure you saw the above message from last week. Cool. 3 strikes for a role, not a contact. 3 times before declining a job, due to lack of employer responsiveness. Do note that the cadence of follow-up is important. message only once per week. You may message once the same day that you apply, and you can even message 2 or 3 people on that same day. But when you follow up, but do not follow up with a single contact until the following week. And if it's on a Friday, you don't follow up on Monday. So Thursday, so like the Thursday, Tuesday works. So Friday, Monday until the following week, and a minimum of 3 business days have elapsed. And that falls into the rule of 3 as well. Love it. Example, if I apply on a Friday, I can message a contact on the same day, but I should not follow up until the following, so Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at the earliest. I should also not wait until after the following Friday to follow up. Cool, I think that defines my follow-up behavior practices. Networking scripts. This document includes scripts that you can use to message other professionals. This document also includes a variety of job search tips, such as the 3 strikes rule. Is there a dash in 3 strikes? Three strikes law, 3 strikes law, 3 strikes, 3 strikes. I see it used both ways, right? 3 strikes rule. I'll go with no dash. Such as the 3 strikes rule for application follow-up. For 3 strikes for application follow-up. Let me be more clear there. The rule itself has 3 pieces described below. Follow-up script preface the 3 strikes rule, such as the 3 strikes rule for application follow-up. Cool. So last thing we need to do is link to the networking scripts. So let me commit this. So this is like feed networking scripts. Push that, cool. Go over to my GitHub, F5, home key. See, 21 seconds ago, here it is, networking scripts. Let's grab the link. Voila, here we are. Now under the README, we can say networking scripts. Cool. Beat better job search. ATS tool. Tracker template. Networking scripts. And open source contributions. Still a lot of work to be done here. This organization, so there's like really cool artifacts and elements here now, but they're not well organized or communicated. So I guess that's for another time. So thank you for joining. We're going to wrap up the stream there. I don't see any outstanding questions. Yeah, and hopefully this is helpful for you. And now I'm going to go do a TikTok and announce that they're now available.